it has been very eager to please Muslim communities. That's absolutely number one, especially voters in Western Sydney that is relying on, they don't want them to go to the Greens. Today, the radical head of the Australian Palestinian Advocacy Network, the guy who's been behind a lot of the Melbourne protests, ugly protests, gave Albanese this praise.
Anthony Albanese absolutely is the best friend Palestine's ever had in the Lodge. Absolutely. It's a very low bar.
Well, praise for National Nationality is no praise at all. Has Albanese actually tilted too far to the Muslim lobby?
Well, of course he has, but I wouldn't even just entirely blame the Muslims. They're a big factor, there's no doubt. There's 100,000 Jews in Australia, there's nearly 1 million Muslims. So the government is just completely sold out to electoral interests. But it's not only the Muslim vote, it's the Green left vote. I mean, our universities have been inculcating a hatred of the West and a hatred of the United States and a hatred of Israel for 30 or 40 or 50 years now, and it's Greens voters. I mean, Anthony Albanese is never going to lose his seat to a Liberal, but he could lose it to a Green. And it's the, non-Muslim, Caucasian, middle-class lefty vote that Labor is pandering to as much as it is to the Muslims. But I don't know that this government actually has any idea what it's doing. I mean, you just have no idea. It's not as if this government has a secret real position which it's too scared to put. Its position seems to be just whatever the focus group and the PR line and how it's going to balance off the Greens against the mainstream of Australia. And you see it with Richard Marles. I think Marles has become, as I say, a tragic and pathetic figure. He gets trapped into a little formula. You know, Israel has a right to defend itself, but we want de-escalation. And he can't answer a straight question. You ask him one question beyond the talking point, and he has no idea what to say. He just has his little phrase worked out, and that's the limit of the government's position. I don't think I've ever seen a government as incompetent as this at answering straightforward questions.
Well, some of these guys, and I include Mark Dreyfus, who's Jewish himself, should realise one day they'll look back and realise they had a chance to make a moral stand. They didn't take it. And I think that should be a cause of shame for the rest of their lives if they don't do something now. We're going to have much more on this later in the show, Greg. I just want to end here with something extraordinary. New Zealand's Navy has just 9 ships. I didn't realise. Only 6 that actually have crews. But as of yesterday, it now has just 5 ships left with crews after a survey vessel hit a reef in Samoa, of all things, caught fire and sank. Yet the Defence Minister treated this disaster as an extraordinary feat of seamanship. Here she is.
This was in the dark, heavy seas. This was an extraordinary feat of keeping people together and keeping them safe. Having spoken to the captain, this was a tremendous effort from everybody, and everyone stayed calm.